Nuclear power is an alternative energy source that generates electricity without producing greenhouse gas emissions. As of 2020, nuclear energy accounts for 10% of the world's electricity. The energy is generated by fission of atoms inside nuclear reactors. Fission is the process where a neutron hits a larger atom, forcing it to split into smaller particles. The process creates energy as heat, which is used to turn water into steam. The steam then turns turbines and generates electricity. Uranium is the preferred fuel for nuclear reactors, as it can be split apart easily. However, plutonium and thorium are also used for similar properties. Although considered a renewable energy, nuclear power has environmental impacts for mining of the elements, as well as concerns for long-term disposal of nuclear waste and potential for nuclear accidents.
The timeline of nuclear power can be said to start off with the discovery of a very important radioactive element, uranium, in 1789 by a German chemist named Martin Klaproth. In 1895, then the science of atomic radiation, atomic change, and nuclear fission really starts to be developed and comes with that new discoveries and emerging theories. Next, in 1908, Ernest Rutherford is awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his work on radioactive decay at McGill University. Following with that, in 1945, we have the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by the US, which is in global history the only use of nuclear weapons in an armed conflict. Next, in 1946, is the first regulation of nuclear power with the Atomic Energy Act. And then in 1951, the first nuclear power plant in the world is built in the US. It's the Experimental Breeder Reactor 1. Next up, the Nuclear Power Demonstration Reactor starts operating in Ontario in 1962, being Canada's first electricity-producing reactor. Then, in 1970, is the construction of Bruce Nuclear Generating Station in Ontario, the second largest nuclear power station in the world today with a 6,400 electric megawatt capacity and 8 reactors. Then, in 1980, is the construction of the world's current largest power plant in Japan, the Kashiwazaki Kairyuga Nuclear Power Plant. In 1986 is the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in Ukraine, where the power plant reactor explodes due to design flaws and human error. Then in 2011 is a comparable accident. The Fukushima nuclear power plant is hit by a tsunami in Japan, releasing enormous amounts of radioactive materials in the environment. Now today, in 2023, nuclear power is an important low-emission source of electricity, and there are currently about 440 nuclear reactors in operation in 32 different countries around the world.
Economic, environmental, and safety factors influence the development of nuclear power projects. Nuclear power can be a great alternative source of energy to help decarbonize electricity production. For example, Canada plans to refurbish 10 of their 19 operable power reactors to extend their lives as their nuclear industry contributes to the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. However, nuclear disasters have led to less favorable public opinions toward nuclear energy. The safety risks associated with nuclear power projects combined with how expensive they are has led countries to scale back their plans to expand on nuclear power. For example, France, a country which used to produce 75% of their electricity with nuclear energy, plans to decrease their nuclear energy production due to the increased production costs for new reactors, as well as expensive safety upgrades needed on older reactors.
The highest profile nuclear power plant in the news right now is the Zaporizhzhia power plant in Ukraine, which is Europe's biggest. This nuclear power plant is located in key fighting grounds of the Russian-Ukraine war.
Shelling has caused a complete blackout in Energodar and compromised the safety operation of the nearby Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. There is now a low chance that reliable off-site power can be restored. The shelling is putting in danger operators and their families, making it difficult to adequately staff the plant. Together, this has significantly increased the risk of a nuclear accident. Let me be clear. The shelling around Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant must stop, and a nuclear safety and security protection zone agreed immediately. A nuclear power plant can never be a pawn of war. Its fate must not be decided by military means. The consequences of such action are far too grave.
The The future use of nuclear power will steadily grow worldwide, with the largest amount of growth stemming from rapid developing countries such as China and India. In Western countries, the growth will mainly depend on public support, along with continuous advancement in safety regulations and better technology for disposal of waste. This graph demonstrates where Canada will generate its electricity in the next 30 years. As shown, the percentage of electricity coming from nuclear power will remain rather steady,